Ancient texts calculate that it takes roughly 84 million cycles of birth, death, and blind biological evolution to produce a single human body. All those lower forms are driven entirely by autonomic instinct. The human frame is the absolute rarest of anomalies because it comes with a sudden, radical hardware upgrade, the acquisition of self-will, and the consciousness to actually observe our own existence. Yet the Kularnava Tantra observes that most of us operate entirely as the Pasu, the bound creature. We take this apex biological machinery and squander it on an endless, unconscious loop of sleeping, eating, and chasing transient physical thrills. A human body exists as a highly volatile, strictly timed biological window to engineer an escape from the cycle of suffering, and the clock is always running out. For centuries, rigid institutions and orthodox academies have taught a standard method for reaching the divine: starve the body, deny the senses, and engage in dry, endless intellectual debate. The Kularnava Tantra offers a radically different architecture. It maps out the Kaula path, an apex science belonging to the highest upward-facing tradition. The texts state that it absorbs all other philosophies, the way a massive elephant's footprint swallows the tracks of smaller animals. At its core is a precise equation: Bhogo Yogayate. This is the doctrine that earthly enjoyment and spiritual union do not have to be enemies, they can be fused. This path never asks you to reject the physical world. Instead, it takes the exact worldly desires that trap a human being and reverse engineers them into the specific instruments of liberation. To use this system, you first have to recognize that your physical body is already a complex, powerful spiritual machine. Right now, it is running on autopilot, executing a continuous, invisible background process known as the Ajapa Gayatri. This is a biological rhythm. Every single day, a human being takes roughly 21,600 breaths. With every outward breath, the body automatically sounds out the syllable ha. With every inward breath, it pulls in the syllable sa. The Kaula yogi begins their work right here, at the baseline of respiration. Their first operational step is simply to pull this mechanical, unconscious rhythm out of the dark and into sharp, continuous awareness. You do not start by acquiring new external tools. You start by taking manual control of the engine that is already keeping you alive. Once you have control, you need a map, the yantra. This geometric blueprint guides internal focus. Operating it requires intense physical purification. These elements are strictly controlled technologies. When deployed correctly, they transmute the poisons of the physical world into the exact fuel required to escape it. Attempting to trigger this inner alchemy on your own is a lethal trap for the human ego. To navigate the final stages without destroying yourself, you need a failsafe, the active transmission of a true guru. This occurs through Veda Diksha, a direct physical transmission of energy. Texts describe it as a violent shock to the nervous system, resulting in physical tremors, swooning, and a sudden rewiring of the brain's circuitry. True initiation is a radical, biological rewiring. It destroys the gap between the gross physical rituals you've practiced and the subtle reality of the universe. The ultimate output of this Kala science is the Jivan Mukta. This is the master who has achieved absolute liberation while still breathing, walking, and operating inside a physical body. They live in a permanent state of equal vision. They register the intense heat of a fire and the freezing cold of winter as exactly the same. They are completely unmoved by the praise of crowds or the harsh censure of society, but you will rarely spot them. To avoid the distracted masses, the yogi employs behavioral camouflage in the everyday world. They act dull, ordinary, or even deeply intoxicated, hiding their absolute inner peace behind a thoroughly unremarkable mask. This is the core operating principle of the Kularnava Tantra. To achieve ultimate freedom, you do not have to flee to a cave to escape the physical world. You just have to scientifically master its mechanisms until you transcend them.